Hello! In this tutorial, I'll walk through the steps of making a texture mod for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. I hope you'll find this tutorial helpful. First, you should download the tools and resources. For texture modding, you'll need the GZS tool, the FText tool, and the NVIDIA texture tools for Adobe Photoshop or GIMP. For this tutorial, I'll be using Photoshop. And for convenience, I'll also be using the Sage Thumbs Windows extension. You'll also want to download this modder resource for use later. Links to all of these tools can be found in the description down below. Once you've downloaded all of these tools, be sure to unpack them to someplace permanent. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just be keeping them in the Downloads folder. With these tools, you'll be able to unpack, edit, and repack the Fox Engine's texture files. In the next steps of this tutorial, I'll explain what the tools are used for, as well as some methods I've learned to make texture modding a smooth and simple experience. For the next step, locate the texture0 and chunk0.dat files in your master folder inside your MGSV TPP directory. Just in case, I'd recommend making a copy of these files. Once you've found and copied the two DATs, double-click on one and manually associate it with the GZS tool. Alternatively, you could drag and drop the DAT file onto the gzstool.exe, but associating the file is a faster solution in the long run. The GZS tool will begin to unpack the DAT file you clicked on, which allows us to edit the contents. Expect the unpack to take a while depending on the file size. When chunk0 is unpacked, we can browse a fraction of the game files. Chunk0 contains a wide variety of files, including the packed Fox textures file type, also known as PFTXS. Since this is a texture tutorial, we'll be focused on the PFTXS file type. The Phantom Pain has many textures, but today we're just going to walk through a simple edit of the Ground Zero sneaking suit. We'll need to navigate through chunk0's directories in order to find the player outfits. Open Assets, TPP, Pack, Player, and Parts. In this folder, you'll probably notice a couple of familiar names. Notice that there are multiple file extensions for each file name. For example, plparts.ddmail has a pftxs, an fpk, and an fpkd. Because of this, I find it convenient to sort by file type. Just like with the DAT files, we can associate pftxs files with the GZS tool as well. Click on a pftxs and manually select it to open with the GZS tool. The unpacked pftxs contains the textures that the game will load, and if we edit these textures, the changes will appear in-game. However, an unmodified pftxs will only have a fraction of the entire texture file. In a moment, I'll explain how to find the entire texture from the texture0.dat. But first, I need to explain the game's texture file types, known as ftex and ftexs. To put it simply, a single texture is split into multiple ftexs files, with a single ftex file to bind them together. For each texture, there's usually 3 ftexs files, but that number can vary. However, there will always only be a single ftex file. After opening any pftxs, you'll notice that it only provides us with the ftex file and the first ftexs file for any one texture. So we'll need to gather the other ftexs files from texture0.dat. Texture0 will contain all texture files for chunk0, so we can be sure to find all the files we need there. Copy the name of the file you'd like to find, and we'll take advantage of the search bar. The ftex and its ftexs files will be in the same directory. Once you've found the texture, associate the ftex file with ftex tool. The GZS tool cannot convert ftex files, so make sure you use the ftex tool for this file type. ftex tool will create a DDS file from the texture you opened. The Sage Thumbs extension will come in handy for browsing DDS files without opening them. For finding a particular texture or for opening multiple files, a personal method that I find works very well is to mass convert all of the textures from the PFTXS. To do this, I sort the PFTXS files by file type, copy all of the ftex files, and paste them into texture 0. Then I can sort by date modified to sort out the ftex files that I copied over. Sage Thumbs will also let you preview the image through its thumbnail, so this is particularly useful when you have a lot of files. Now you can edit the textures in Photoshop. I'll just be making some simple changes to show that the mod works. After making changes to the file, save it as a DDS. Save non-normal map textures as DXT1 and normal map textures as DXT5. Make sure compression quality is set to max, and the sharpening for the image is set to 0. These settings will help preserve the image quality. Once you have saved the changes, take the DDS files back to the PFTXS folder and open the DDS file type with ftex tool. The tool will convert the file into an ftex file and ftexs files. You can confirm the conversion by checking the date modified column. Now that the edited textures are in the PFTXS folder, we need to repack the PFTXS. We also need to include the ftexs files that weren't originally packed into the file. To do this, open the XML file that was created when we first unpacked the PFTXS. Inside will be a list of file paths for every file included in the PFTXS. Find the file path of the modified texture and add the new ftexs file paths. Once the changes are made and saved to the XML, now it's time to finally repack the PFTXS. Open the XML file with GZS tool. The textures will be repacked into a new PFTXS file. Using this modified PFTXS, our changes made to the textures will now appear in-game. The final step to installing this file is by using the Snakebite Mod Manager. In the next tutorial, we'll cover how to format your mod for Snakebite. But for now, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions or better methods for texture modding, please share your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, if you're interested in more mod discussion, check out our MGS5 modding Discord server. To join, all you need to do is follow the link in the description. Thank you for watching.